Hello, everybody. I'm Zenith, and welcome back to the Disney Debate, where Kat Mac and I talk about Disney products and Disney in general. So how are you doing today, Kat?
Tired and confused
So
after
it's
watching this.
basically
Yeah.
Pinocchio all over again.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not going through any hidden trauma or anything like that. No, I'm going through the confusion of, what did I just watch?
Yeah. So for today, we watched The Reluctant Dragon, and now you may be scratching your heads and be saying, "What the hell is that?" It's not in the Disney classics, and it's not for a reason. After Fantasia, Disney went through some dark times, let's say. And half of their films were animated feature films that were really well received. Half of their films were live action mixed with animation, and they didn't have a point.
Mm,
This
yeah.
is the latter category, and I don't know why this was made because
Yeah, I guess the reason it was to make up for all the money they lost with Fantasia, because as great a film as Fantasia is now, it really didn't make that much money, and they put so much into it, they were nearly bankrupt. So I guess they kind of rushed this out thinking, oh, well, we could still get a little bit more money, if we just, maybe throw these together, try to make like an educational film out of it, and, throw in some cartoon for the kiddies, but no, no, it did not work.
I mean, from the very beginning, they state in a disclaimer that this is not an animated feature film. In any resemblance otherwise is, we're sorry, but it was not supposed to be this animated feature film, and yet from the title you would think, oh, this is just another children's book tale. No, 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 no,
No,
no. This
no,
is not
no.
Snow White. This is not Sleeping Beauty. This is not even close to that level of quality.
Mm.
This is half of it is a tour of Disney Studios,
Mm.
and even that is kind of not the main focus for most of it.
Yeah, I mean, they seem like they're trying to like, educate the audience by, showing them like, oh, this is how we do stills, this is how we create sounds, this is what we do for color, this is what we do for sculpting, this is what we do for drawing and stuff, and some of the stuff is kind of interesting, I mean, this is like the 40s, making movies was still pretty new at the time, and a lot of people didn't really know like all the complexity that went into stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting to see, but I don't know, like just something about it. Like I guess it was because of the person that they had, going throughout all of these things. What was his name?
I yeah, I don't even recall his name. He was so unimportant to everything going around him
Yeah.
that I mean, the film opens up with two characters. It opens up with this man and his wife, and this man right off the bat, I didn't. There's something not quite right about him.
Yeah, he was in a pool wearing this really weird bathing suit, shooting at ducks with a pop gun.
He
Not,
was acting pretty much like a child.
I know,
Like
and,
I thought, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, this guy is he's a rich guy who acts like a child or something like that, and I'm like, what did I get myself into?
yeah, and it's weird because I thought, he was like supposed to be a grown man playing a boy or something. Because you see him like just shooting at toy ducks while his wife is reading him a story. It's like, when would you ever see a scenario like that? Like this is something that like I can imagine like a mom like reading a story to her boy while he's playing with his toys and not really paying attention that much, but a grown man.
With his wife, and his wife is reading him a children's story,
Hmm.
and he's not even paying attention to it. And I'm just like, right from the very beginning, this is just something doesn't seem quite right about this.
Yeah, and then she comes up with the idea, because the story she's reading, of course, is The Reluctant Dragon. She comes up with a brilliant idea that, hey, let's pitch this to Disney Studios. You know, maybe they'll do it. And the guy from the beginning says he doesn't think it's a good idea and doesn't want to do it. But she just keeps pushing him and pushing him to the point where she makes him drive her down to the studios and then basically drops him off and says, okay, you pitch that idea to Disney and I'll come back for you later. It's like, bitch, why don't you do it yourself?
And at the end of the film, she yells at him for spending so much time in the Disney offices, and that they actually got around to making the Reluctant Dragon into a picture.
Yeah, before they even, brought up the idea. And she's blaming him because he dragged his feet. It's like, first of all, lady, it was your idea. Second of all, they probably planned this out months before you even came up with the idea. So why the hell are you blaming your husband? And for that matter, why didn't you just go there yourself? You know?
There's so many holes in this plot. Well, no. Let me reframe this. It's not that there's plot holes. It's that this plot was made to justify a tour of the Disney studios.
Pretty much. Because it made no sense, because the guy obviously didn't want to be there. He keeps dodging this one guy. What was his name? Humphrey, who's like a tour guide / security guard, and he's obnoxious as hell, just talking about, the building and how big it is and what it's made of and stuff. And the guy obviously has no interest, and he keeps wandering around the place, like a lost child, and pretty much inviting himself into, whatever area he comes across. And I always found it weird that pretty much everyone knew his name, even though he had no appointment to see Walt Disney, and he just got a pass, rather easily, I must add.
And everywhere he went, people are just like, "Oh, hey, Kate, come here. We have this new idea. Here, just we'll show you everything." It's like, no, get security.
Seriously, if you saw a grown man that that you've never seen before wander into your area, looking at all your stills and stuff and ideas for an upcoming film, you get security and you make sure this person never talks. So pretty much you're pretty much gonna keep this person under wraps until the cartoon is out. That's how it'd be nowadays. Because none of that made sense. Absolutely no sense. And it's they're all so happy too. It's in the normal corporate world they'd be like, get out of my way. So yeah, I don't know.
See, we have this paper thin, ham-fisted string of plot that's not even present for most of it. And so through the beginning it's just okay, whatever, we're going through a tour of the studios, and for the most part it is interesting, but the main character has no charisma. He's not funny, and he tries to be, and it's the only interesting thing is that you get to see how somewhat of the animation process works. Not really, a lot of it is designed to, get a certain reaction out of you. They bring, they foreshadow Dumbo, and they foreshadow Bambi, and they give you a little bit of looking at what's in production. And I have a feeling a lot of why this was made is to be okay, this is what's gonna come out soon.
Right. And am I the only one who was offended when he was talking about how stupid elephants are?
Yeah, I was very... well, first of all, it's kind of inaccurate because, it doesn't matter how big your brain is. Elephants are one of the smarter animals out there.
Yeah.
They never forget, that saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty smart, I mean, this guy just... Because the whole scene that this goes on in, he wanders into an animation studio where they're trying to draw elephants, cartoon elephants for Dumbo, and they actually have a real-life elephant in the room. Kind of a funny play on words when you think about it. But, Yeah, so he's basically looking at different cartoon versions, and while he's looking at it, he's talking about how dumb elephants are, and they should draw them to be looking more dumb and stuff. And you could see the elephants like, "What you talking about?" And
And
he even like yells at the guy at the end, and it's like, if I was the elephant, I would have friggin' stomped on his head.
and then they do these like really weird caricatures when drawing the elephants. Like they made a racist joke, like
Oh
drawing
yeah,
a
they had.
Chinese elephant.
Yeah, they had like a Chinese woman drawing a Chinese elephant. And yeah, and the guy actually had the gall at the end to try to speak Chinese to her and then explain, "Oh, that's Chinese for hello." Like, what the fuck?
Now here's where the Disney debate goes into full swing, and let me say this. In the past, we've talked about why Disney doesn't Disney isn't a racist company.
It
Whatever you may get from their pictures is construed by the audience, and so, it could be debated, but this is a different story.
mm,
This is Disney directly sending a racist message out there. 2 films after Pinocchio that was supposed to be the moral fiber.
yeah, this not only with the Chinese lady, but there was like other racist imagery throughout it, like in terms of some of the cartoons that they showed. Thankfully, this one cartoon never really came to fruition, but still, like, I was just cringing when I was watching it. It was just so bad.
I just don't understand. I mean, there's so much wrong with this film. It's not a film in any right sense. It's really a farce, and it makes you think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I actually had a theory, of why everyone in the studios looks so happy and chipper and were welcoming a complete stranger into the studio. They were probably brainwashed. They were given Disney serum so that it truly was the happiest place on earth.
And honestly, like, if this film were cut, half of it, like, if half of it was cut out, maybe I would be fine with it. But not as a Disney feature-length film.
No, and actually, on the DVD releases and VHS releases, this film was cut up. In fact, I believe they only kept the Reluctant Dragon part and just mixed it up with a bunch of other shorts as well, like I know in one of the DVDs it's bundled up with like Ferdinand the Bull and Johnny Appleseed and Goliath, and another one it's paired up with Mickey and the Beanstalk. So I think they kind of realize, that leaving the film as is probably wasn't a good idea.
I think what they might have been trying here was, in addition to promoting their upcoming films, was maybe just doing something that could appeal, that was easier to do and could appeal to both younger kids and adults at the same time.
Mm.
It kind of failed.
Yeah, because I know if I was a kid and I watched this from beginning to end, I would probably be bored out of my mind until I saw the cartoon parts. Or, I'd probably like fast forward to like the actual Reluctant Dragon cartoon, which is shown at the very end. But
Mhm.
but yeah, this is a film I really don't think should be meant for kids. Just because, like, yeah, it tries to be educational and stuff, but for the most part, kids aren't really gonna care about the technical process of making a movie. I mean, they see a movie that has a dragon on it, they want to see the dragon. They don't want to see some old guy wandering around, looking at paints and stuff. So.
And he's not that interesting. None of these characters, really are that interesting. They're on the screen for a few seconds and they're off.
Mhm.
And a lot of the film is just a tour of the factory. And so, you know, so that's half of the film right there.
Mhm.
That's the egregious portion of the film. And then we get to the okay parts. We have in certain parts of this film, we have little snippets of animated segments, animated shorts. We have one with Goofy where he's doing something, normal Goofy behavior.
Oh yeah,
And
I believe this is like the first of his how-to episodes.
hmm
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, we it basically interrupting the tour of the factory. There were people like, oh hey, check out this new Goofy cartoon,
Yeah.
and
It's like this is getting boring. Let's distract them with pretty cartoons.
so yeah, I think the animated shorts were really well done,
Mhm.
but they should have taken up the majority of the film.
Yeah, I mean, he probably should have just like focused on them, made it sort of like make mine music or fun and fancy free. Because even though, some of those films didn't really tie together, they were still fun to watch, and some of them were memorable. So I really think they should have just left like the live action part out. Uh, Although I should admit it was pretty cool seeing Clarence Nash on screen doing the Donald voice. That got such a chuckle out of me. It's like, oh my god, it's Donald. And I love when the other lady was a Florence Gill, the voice of Clara Cluck, the hen, started clucking. It's like she goes up, you're expecting her to sing this beautiful song, and all of a sudden she starts clucking. It's like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden the guy joins her, and it's Donald. It's like, oh my god, my ears.
And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting because they explained how they did that, but it wasn't treated the right way. I feel like if they had treated it like, okay, let's take this paper thin plot away,
Mhm.
let's treat it as a tour of the factory and make it its separate entity,
Mhm.
that would have been fine. And then release the animated shorts on their own.
Yeah, that's the way it should have been. Cartoons here, live action there. Do not combine the two. It is not worth it.
And so, yeah, this was their first attempt at blending live action and cartoon, and it failed miserably. But like I said, I enjoyed the Goofy how-to video. The second animated short was this one called Baby Weems, and it was like when they were showing how the storyboarding went,
Mhm.
and it was a very different thing because a lot of it was told with still frame shots,
Mhm. Yeah, I'm
and
pretty sure it never actually got made into like a real episode because I looked around and I couldn't find it. So, and actually, when you look at some of the imagery, it's kind of understandable why. But I think that the stills were actually good enough where you actually could get like the full story in your head of how it would move and how everyone would sound in the transitions and everything.
hmm So, I mean, I think the Baby Weems short was a success on a bunch of different levels. I mean, it was nice, it was short, it had an implausible story, a very implausible story,
Mm.
basically about a baby genius. It was the precursor to Baby Geniuses, the film, only
Oh
it was
God,
good.
never mention that movie. Yep.
But yeah, it was fun. It was like it had the nostalgia factor of these old 40 styles cartoons where you didn't question the logic behind the stuff. It was just kind of funny.
Oh, I was constantly questioning it throughout the whole thing. I mean, how the heck can a 2-day-old baby speak perfect English and have an immense
Disney,
knowledge?
Disney.
That magic,
You know
magic
what? I
did
just put my logic aside and
it.
I'm just like, this is fun. Every film does not need to have perfect logic. It was
Yeah.
just like we were just in a different dimension or something like that. It was a Disney dimension.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess my logic kept overriding me when I was listening to that though, because what is it? The cartoon got more frustrating to watch when you see like his poor parents are just trying to see their son, but nobody's letting them in, which makes no sense. Because why would you keep a baby, even a genius, away from their parents? I mean, who's looking after the baby to begin with? And they're basically
Albert
treating
Einstein, apparently.
I guess. And they're basically making him out to be like this higher god, and it's like he's a baby that could talk and is a genius. So
Baby geniuses.
shut up.
Cut it, mark it, print it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like being hailed and stuff, and apparently he has the answer to the universe or something, or how to make everything in the world just good. And right as he's about to say it, suddenly he becomes sick and he gets a
Yeah,
fever.
plot contrivance. Yay.
Yeah, and then everyone's like holding their breath because they think the baby's gonna die or something. But then he gets better, and you know what happens? He loses the ability to talk. I mean, what? He's born with the ability to talk and has, superior thinking. Then he gets sick, and suddenly all that goes away. What?
Maybe his brain was distorted, or maybe he had the bad acid or something. I don't know.
I mean, I can understand, if you get really sick, like really badly sick, you can like lose certain things. Like when Helen Keller was a baby, I mean, she could hear and see, and then after she got a really bad fever, she became deaf and blind. I mean, I can understand that, but losing the ability to talk and all your superior thinking, no, no. No, and then as soon as everyone realized, oh, he's just a normal baby, they just throw him back to his parents, and everyone just erases any evidence that he ever existed. And it's like, okay, wouldn't you actually want to keep the baby? Study him, find out what made him so smart. Get his parents, see if there's anything in their genes that caused that. Anything? No, we're just gonna forget this. Forget this
Well,
miracle
well,
ever happened.
the thing is, when you go into something like that, then take a look at the Warner Brothers Frog, for example. I think this is the kind of the same line of thinking where why don't they just tape the frog singing or like take video of it? Its logic does not come into play in these cartoons, and it's just how they had to be to get a response out of these audiences.
There is logic in what you say. Alright, so that was Baby Weems, and then there was a third cartoon, but this was kind of like an unfinished thing. It was actually a prerequisite to Dumbo. It is called Casey Jr.
hmm
If anyone ever seen the movie Dumbo, it actually starts off with a train, and it's called Casey Jr., and there's actually a song that goes along with it as well. And this short is pretty much an example of, how sound is done, incorporated into a cartoon, and like you see the whole process, like all these people are banging on drums and stuff and blowing whistles, and you see like a woman pressing like sound things against her throat to make the voice for the whistle. And it's pretty cool, and like the cartoon itself really doesn't have a plot. It's just a train just going along, and then it runs into a few obstacles and then it crashes. That's pretty much it.
And it's just a fun look, especially like the look of the sound design. That was interesting because that really didn't focus on the main character of the film. It was more like, hey, let's look at this cartoon going around, and this is how things work. And I thought it was interesting.
No, I definitely liked it. Because, just to see the whole process and how much manpower and material goes into making sound for a short cartoon like that, it's pretty cool.
And but yeah, like so those three little shorts on their own would have been fine.
Mm.
They would have done fine, I think, especially to the audiences back then.
Yeah, if they were like mixed up into like a half hour or hour special, that would have been just perfectly fine. You know, it would have been a nice, enjoyable cartoon, an enjoyable half hour to spend.
But instead, we have the majority of the film being this loosely strung plot that makes no sense, unlikable characters that don't appear very often, and a tour of Disney Studios which ranges from pretty good to boring.
Mm.
And then we have these little animated shorts which are pretty damn good, if I say so myself, but then we come to the title cartoon of the picture.
And at that point, you may as well just hit the stop button on the movie. Because really, you do not need to see this. So, do you wanna talk about the plot, or should I?
I don't know. This thing, whatever this thing is, Disney went from Fantasia, one of the best animated works of all time, to this, and it makes me so sad.
It's a story about a gay dragon.
It's a stereotypical gay dragon who doesn't want to fight versus an old knight stereotypicalized as Sir Lancelot, basically.
Yeah, it's like, I think they were trying to, go for a moral here, as in, like, you shouldn't make pre-notions about people or things just because, the majority agree that's how it's supposed to be. But they go about it completely wrong. Like, how much more wrong could you go?
It's like, here's the message they were trying to get. Staring you straight in the face, it's right in front of you. They went completely around it, went under the ground, underneath it, over it, but they didn't get the point.
Yeah, they took it, buried it, and basically suffocated it to death.
And this is the cartoon in a nutshell. The characters are ungodly annoying.
Mm.
The plot makes no goddamn sense.
Is full of holes and, just is all over the place.
The animation is not even fit to be a Disney cartoon. Like, not even a cartoon short.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah, this is like, high school level drawing.
And the one song in the picture is completely atrocious.
And pointless.
It's basically the dragon saying about, oh, how I'm this very unreluctant dragon. I don't want to fight. Well, why? Explain, movie. Tell me, why don't you want to fight? Oh, it doesn't agree with me.
Should we talk about the characters, what little characters there are in this film?
Yes, go ahead. I'm going to take a drink of water right now. I need a minute.
I understand. Well, pretty much we only have 3 characters in this movie. The rest are just, side, like, onlookers. First character we have is the boy. And he's just the boy. He has no name. And, yeah, he wears... For some reason, he's against wearing pants. He wears, like, a red Speedo. I guess it's supposed to be shorts, but the animation's so bad, I could have sworn it was underwear. And this kid, basically is a so-called expert of fairy tales. And, it opens with him reading a fairy tale, and then his father comes running along with his herd saying that he saw this terrible beast that was breathing fire or whatever. And the kid's like, oh, it's only a dragon. It's like, wow.
And here we come to the first major problem in the film. The dragon never breathes fire until the end of the film. And he has to be coaxed into breathing fire. So who the hell did that dad see?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Like, I had been expecting, that they must have seen like a truly ferocious dragon somewhere, but then it just so happens this other dragon showed up, and he's completely harmless. So it's kind of a mistaken identity. But no, that dragon never makes an appearance. It's only the one, and of course, he doesn't do any damage whatsoever because he's a freaking prude.
But yeah, going back to this kid. Okay, this kid is the most goody-goody kid I have seen.
Yeah, he's all sweet and innocent and, pretty much
Naive.
naive
He's worse than Pinocchio.
well, I actually wouldn't call him naive. Like, I guess he's supposed to be like, from the audience perspective, because a lot of what we think and see is what he goes through, but for the most part, I find him really bland. Like nothing real likable about him other than the fact that, he finds the characters as annoying as we do.
And it's just like he's kind of a fill for the audience.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, we're this little kid and we're like, oh, okay, but I don't get what the point of having the kid around is. There really is no point because
Yeah. He's pretty much there to point out that, oh, this isn't how a dragon's supposed to be. Oh, this isn't how a knight's supposed to be.
oh, that's the joke. Oh,
Oh, yeah, no shit.
it's such a stupid character, and it's pointless. It's annoying, especially the voice actor for him.
I
Oh
actually
God,
think that's the same voice actor as Pinocchio. I mean,
really? Did he like change his voice in the past couple of films because he
I
sounds?
guess he went through puberty or something.
I don't know. But so that's the kid. Then we have the dragon.
Oh my god, I hate this
The
thing.
dragon is the gayest stereotype. The biggest gay stereotype I can think of. And let me say this right off the bat. Before we even touch on homosexuality, I have nothing against gay people. You're fine. You can do what you want. It doesn't affect me. So, whatever. But when you bring out this horribly, horribly offensive stereotype,
Yeah, because, like...
and this is where Disney would get flack, because he okayed this. You can get away with the Crows and Dumbo, I think. You can get away with stuff like that, but this...
Because, like, I understand that, they were trying to make it that, not all dragons are horrible and ferocious creatures that kill without thought and without mercy and stuff, but they went in the complete opposite direction by making him so wussy, so prude, it's just... Oh my god, it's like one of those people that you just want to smack across the face and be like, hello?
It's like the opposite of Pete's dragon.
Yeah.
Where Pete is just like, he's just a lovable, fun little dragon. No,
Yeah.
this is this like, oh, let me have a spot of tea and some jam, and oh, I don't like fighting, it doesn't agree with me. He's so feminized, and so, he even has the Disney, like, eyelashes.
Yeah, he's like cutesy to the max. I mean, talk about catering to kids, but I can't even picture kids liking this. Because, most kids, they want to, when they, like, look up to cartoon characters, they look for, like, qualities that they themselves, want to do, and, characters that they want to be like. And I couldn't imagine any kid wanting to be like this guy. I mean, he's so, it's like... Oh, God. I mean, just thinking about him, like, his voice is absolutely annoying. I hate his voice. Like, he talks like this with the inflation. And he's like, oh! And it's like, shut the hell up. Please.
He isn't even, like, the fun stereotype, too. He's just like, oh, I'm going to offend you. In some way, I'm going to offend you.
Oh, he's offensive, all right. And he's also downright rude, might I ask. Because, like, he acts all prim and proper, telling the boy, like, that, oh, you shouldn't interrupt my music session.
And yet he's the one who keeps interrupting the boy when he's telling him, there are people trying to kill you, you're a dragon.
Yeah, this guy is, like, he lives in like some sort of fantasy world or something. It's like a kid goes up to him and says, "Hey, there's a bunch of villagers that saw you. They want to kill you. You're probably going to end up having to fight a knight at some point." And he's just like, "Oh, no, I don't believe in fighting. Why don't you go off and, arrange it so that I don't have to fight? And I'll just stay up here, reciting poetry and singing music."
And there's so many things wrong with that, so many ideas that are wrong with that. I can't even touch upon them in one sitting. So I'm not going to even try. I'm not going to touch that with a 9.5-foot pole.
Yeah. I mean, there's being a pacifist, and then there's just being a stupid hippie.
Like, think about it. Vash the Stampede, he's a pacifist. Mm-hmm. He fights using pacifism.
Right.
This is someone who's just like, oh, I don't want to fight. It's a bad thing, I don't, just go off and fight.
It's really just being lazy.
Yeah.
Pretty much it is.
And
then we get to the other stereotype in the film.
Yeah, we have this knight, and from the very beginning, he's idolized like Sir Lancelot was. Mm-hmm. And Sir Lancelot, he is not. He is like a really old man. And now we get to the worst part of the film. Okay, now picture this. The kid goes off to go see this knight, and he sneaks in, and he opens up this person's bedchambers, right? Inside is an old man naked in a wash tub, and he says he doesn't mind that the child's there. He's like, oh, no, come in. And I'm like, bad touch. No.
I know. At least the dragon had some sense, when he was bathing to say, "Oh, please turn away. I'm bathing." This guy's just like, "Oh, come right in, stare at my junk."
What is it with people in bathing in this film? and
they're trying to wash away the filth of this film.
This guy is an old British stereotype. It's like, what? Oh.
Yeah, he has the big frilly mustache. He has the monocle, which he bathes with, by the way. And he's scrawny as hell. I mean, how the hell is this guy a knight? I mean, you have to have some muscle on you to carry all that armor, to carry that sword, that spear, to be able to fight. And this guy is just like, he doesn't even look like he could hold a teacup up, minus, much less a sword. And it's like, I know that's supposed to, like, fall into the whole thing, a dragon doesn't have to be ferocious, so a knight doesn't have to be all, strong and, heroic and stuff. And it's like, yeah, he kind of does, I mean, knights are fighters. You're supposed to kind of be built to be a fighter.
And so, because they're both pacifists, extreme pacifists, they have a poetry battle.
Right. Well, actually, I wouldn't say the knight is a pacifist, though. More like, he's just doing this because, he gets praise for it. It's just something that he does. Because at no point does he say that he didn't want to fight. He just makes, polite conversation, and it turns out he likes poetry, too. Big surprise.
And it's just like they get together and they recite poetry at each other, and it's not even like it's like haiku status at this point.
Oh, poetry is atrocious. Like, I don't even know how they can call that poetry.
It's not even poetry. Like, I've studied poetry in school. I'm pretty sure any high school student in my school had to do that. And first of all, it was all free verse. Which is the worst kind of poetry, but it just didn't make any particular lick of sense. And they're all like, "Ooh, jolly good, this is so amazing." And so this is their grand poetry battle, where the dragon and the knight come together, they recite poetry at each other, and they make friends.
Yeah, and everything's fine, and then the boy, who apparently, was really eager to see these two fight, because I guess he wasn't at first, because, he actually warns the dragon, and then he tells the knight, but then I guess he becomes so annoyed by both of them and how prissy they are that he just wants them to kill each other. So
And
he's
I
just
want them to kill each other.
exactly, and I agreed too. And he starts off, because first of all, neither one of them are listening to him because he wants them to talk about the fight that the entire village wants them to do, but they're too busy, reciting poetry to even give a shit. And so he decides, okay, I'm going to recite some poetry, and he starts off all nice and soft and poetic, and then he ends it with, now how about that fight? And it's like, finally, now we get to the real issue at hand.
Yeah, finally we can stop dicking around.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute, because the dragon apparently doesn't fight. He's never fought, and he won't even hear the idea.
And even after they make a secret plan of how to get out of doing the fight, seconds later the dragon looks and is like, oh, fight! No, 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 and he runs away.
Yeah, I mean, because I know, I understand that he didn't want to fight and stuff, and they kind of had to trick him into it, but, if they were going to fake it, either make it from the beginning and just have the dragon in on it, or, come up with the idea when they're, about to fight, so that way the dragon is coaxed into the battle.
Okay, and so then we have this mock battle where, first of all, the kid has to teach the dragon how to breathe fire, because apparently you have to be mad to breathe fire.
That makes no sense.
What? No, fire is just a natural thing that dragons have.
Yeah, it's more of a defense mechanism than an emotional response.
And even when he is triggered, he isn't particularly angry. He calls him a punk poet. He's like, a punk poet? And it's not like he's angry or anything. He's just miffed.
Yeah.
Slightly miffed.
Yeah, and even then he becomes happy by the fact that, he was able to breathe fire, and he's all, happy about it. And it's like, okay, well, you're not mad now and you're breathing fire, so obviously, you're either a liar or you got your facts mixed up.
And then he goes out and he doesn't breathe fire anymore. He just blows smoke rings.
Yeah, I mean...
He blows freaking smoke. That's it. Worst dragon ever. Because dragons do not work that way.
No, I mean, I know there are dragons that, they either they breathe ice or they breathe poison or something like that, but just smoke? Come on. Really? Smoke without fire? That's pathetic. That makes no sense. And then...
So they have this mock battle.
Yeah.
And basically it's them, he blows smoke, they get into the smoke, they pretend to have a battle, and it looks like the knight has the upper hand at the end. And then we have the crux of this whole cartoon here. He convinces the dragon, quote-unquote, to reform his ways, and everyone after that accepts the dragon from right off the bat. No one's like, oh yeah, we have to kill him still, he's a beast. No, it's just like, oh hey, welcome in. And they start cheering the dragon. They start freaking cheering the dragon. Even during the battle, they were cheering the dragon sometimes.
Yeah, I wanted to mention just how flip-floppy and stupid this village is. Because, first off, they get into a panic because, they learn that a dragon was nearby, and of course, the preconception is that dragons are ferocious and would, kill an entire village. So, of course, they hire the knight to come in and, kill him. But you get to the battle, and then all of a sudden you see people are charging people for seats to see the fight, and you see people taking bets on who's going to win, the dragon or the knight. And it's like, I'm sorry, did you want the guy to fight the dragon just, for sport, or to kill a threat that might destroy your village?
Did I, fall asleep and wake up in Wonderland, only not normal Wonderland, Acid Trip Wonderland, where everything's even more topsy-turvy?
Yeah.
Because this is weird.
I know, and then on top of that, even from the beginning, everyone is cheering for both the dragon and the knight, and it's like, who the hell do you want to win here? I mean, I mean, I thought you wanted this thing dead. I thought you wanted, your village safe, but no, you're cheering for this thing. And then
I'm afraid I walked into the set of a school production of Camelot or something. That's what it feels like. It's like an amateur hour of theater or something where nothing has to make sense.
Yeah,
and you know what? I put things aside for Baby Weems because it was kind of fun and it was funny, but this is like every single point in this film, in this cartoon portion of the film, is egregious.
Yeah, and I love how obvious it is that they're faking the fight. Just yelling the same things while they're apparently fighting, and they're being so effeminate while they're while they're quote fighting. Like they go into a cave, and it seems like they're beating the crap out of each other, but they're actually sitting down drinking tea, and
then they shout out loud, "Oh, just a spot of tea!" And
he's like, "Oh, ow, oh, oh, one lump or two, oh, 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 yes, I'll two, oh, God, oh," and it's like, really? Nobody can hear that? And then toward the end of the battle, they both run at each other. The knight with his spear, the dragon with his tail. They're in a cloud of smoke, and they're still shouting and stuff like they're fighting, but they're dancing.
What?
You're not even trying now, are you? And I gotta say, my favorite character in this entire movie is the horse. He has the best expression on his face while these two are being as gay as possible. He's like, why am I here? Why am I watching this? What is going on?
So, yeah, if you had any doubts from, the first 2/3 of the film about what this was going to be, the Reluctant Dragon came on and just punched you in the face because it's like, no. I mean, granted, if this was split into a kind of documentary tour of Disney Studios and some animated shorts, then it would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
But
no. Instead, we have a mishmash of good cartoons, live action, a tour, and a really bad cartoon. Just meshed into one.
And the title cartoon of the film is the worst one.
Yeah, I love it. Their main feature is the worst thing about this entire movie. It's baffling just how he can go from Snow White to Pinocchio to Fantasia to this.
It's like, I don't know, it's like a complete dive off a cliff.
Oh my god. It hurts my head. It hurts my head so much. We need something decent to review next just to get us out of this funk.
Well, we have just the picture. We have Dumbo next week.
Yay, Dumbo!
More trauma.
Oh, you have trauma too?
Well, it's not really trauma. It's just there are some scenes of this film is kind of ridiculously scary. But on the whole, I really enjoy Dumbo. And just overall, the idea that a film after Fantasia, like The Reluctant Dragon, was produced is baffling. And so I'm glad that the next picture, Dumbo, is much, much better. Mm-hmm. So that is going to be next week. Thank you guys for watching the Disney Debate and listening to, our rant about how bad this thing is.
I hope we entertained you.
If you guys have any comments, criticisms, suggestions, or anything else, please leave them at zenithrule.blip.tv. That's my main page, and I read all the comments. Or if you don't want to do that, if you just want to contact us directly, just follow us at twitter.com/zenithrule or twitter.com/EphraimTRabbit. I am Zenith Rule, and this is my cohort, Kat Mac.
@CatMax/FMTRabbit/CatTCritic.
And we will see you guys next time.
TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Thank you for watching The Media Meltdown. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome videos. And if you like what you see, show your support on the Patreon page at patreon.com/Media Meltdown. See you all next time on The Media Meltdown.